So welcome to Coffee with Purpose, everyone. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. And this morning, our guest speaker is Al Green from the LGBTQ or LGBT Asylum Task Force. I think physically based out of Worcester, associated with one of the churches out there. Um, Al came to our church, First Congregational, earlier this fall to tell our congregation about their work, and it sounded so important that I wanted our gang to have the same message. So I invited him, and very graciously he said yes. Al, we usually start with very brief introductions, so you just have a sense of kind of who's in the room. And as I say, we'll be recording this. Although, if for any reason we happen to talk about stories that are so personal that people feel that it shouldn't be out there, we can talk about that as well in terms of posting it out to YouTube. Um, but starting with that, let's do some introductions. Tom, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi. Hi, Al. I'm Tom Daly. I've been a resident of Natick for about 35 years. Active member with Spark Kindness, a local charity. Past town meeting member, and welcome.
Thanks. Lane, sorry to cut you just as you took a mouthful.
Good morning. I'm Lane McDonough, longtime Native resident, member of the First Congregational Church, along with Doug and Sarah there, and just trying to get more involved with CWAP, working on that acronym now.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody pronounces it quite like you do, but we'll just
Sounds
move
like
on.
Elmer Fudd in a PG-13 movie, you know.
Kathleen,
Hi, good morning, Al. I'm like Tom, 35 years here in Natick. I've been involved with the public library on the library board for many years. And, in terms of this conversation, that's the piece I bring to the table because we have it in our mission statement to be a welcoming place and a safe place for all members of our community. So very interested in this conversation.
thanks, Kathleen. Alan, come off mute.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alan Cantor. This is my second CWAP meeting. I'll give my shot at it. And I am a member of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Sherburne. It's an area church, so it includes Natick. And I'm on the Rainbow Sanctuary team there and active in all things queer and trans community related. So I'm happy you're here, Al. Thanks.
Thanks, Alan. Cindy.
Good morning. I'll just start by saying I woke up at 10 of 9.
But you're here.
So I'm wearing a little bit of a disguise this morning. Um, I'm a 5.5 year resident of Natick, and but I grew up around here. I'm particularly interested in this topic, and thank you for coming. Um, I have a niece who was born a nephew for 3 years now, and then just within the last month, I guess a second cousin once removed who's also trans, and then there's another second cousin once removed who's trans, and then there's yeah, so it's in my lifetime it's been a huge change. I was born in 1960, and the attitudes of the people around me are are evolving. I mean, have evolved and are still evolving. So I'm very interested to hear your presentation today. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Sally.
Good morning. I'm really where I I like Cindy, haven't been up very long. So I think I know who I am, but I'm like a mama bear in this cold winter weather, I love to hibernate. So enough about me. I'm really looking forward to your talk today, Alan. This su Monday morning is a great way to start um, at the Coffee with a Purpose. And my brother Pat and I were kind of the early founders, but this has really evolved into a wonderful, articulate bunch of listeners and presenters. So welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. And speaking of brothers, Pat.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Pat, Sally's brother. Kind of the Keep Dating Beautiful guy. Nice to see you all.
Thanks,
Interested
Pat.
in the discussion.
Great. Brinley.
Good morning. I um oh sorry. Good morning. I'm Brinley. I'm a 25-year resident of Natick. Active in town stuff a lot, and this is a subject very near and dear to my heart, as many of my family members and my dearest friends are part of the community. So I'm really glad for you to be here today. Thank you for coming and sharing with us.
Thanks, Brinley. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. Been active for a long time in various things around Natick. Doug and I and Lane are all pretty active at First Congregational Church, and very interested to hear what you have to say, especially in these times. Anything we can do to help, I'm interested in hearing. So thank you.
Yeah. And I'm with Sarah. Moderate this group. We have both family, friends, and relatives in the trans community, and their stories are uplifting and tragic to hear all at the same time. And just the additional challenge of trying to relocate to this country, being in the trans community, that's just a challenge I can't imagine. So, Al, again, thanks for being with us, and we'll turn it over to you at this point. I don't know whether you have any kind of a presentation you want to walk through, or just engage in conversation. We often use kind of the Zoom raise hand features, but you can call the shots too, as in terms of whether you want to speak for a while before taking questions, or just kind of have dialogue right from the get-go.
Awesome. I do actually have a presentation, so
Great.
I'll share it in a moment. And no, thank you all for introducing yourselves. It's good to get to start the week off on a positive note, or at least we're hoping it'll be a positive note. Um, I think it's wonderful that you have this community that you created where you get to learn with each other and to grow and to see ways in which you can do meaningful and good work in our community. Um, I will get started with my presentation. So, my name is Al Green. I'm the Ministry Director of the LGBT Asylum Task Force. Um, I am an asylum seeker myself from Jamaica. I came here in 2015, or embarked on the asylum process in 2015. Um, I originally came to the go to school in Worcester at WPI, did civil engineering, worked for a couple of years, returned home to Jamaica, and it wasn't safe for me there. It was very difficult going back into the closet after being here and being able to explore and to be myself and to see a different way of existing. So returned, went through the asylum process, embarked on the asylum process, was referred to Haddon Park Church and the LGBT asylum task force by my lawyers for support. Um, Got super involved and joined a search committee that was looking for a director. We identified two shortlisted candidates, and they both determined that they weren't going to take up the position. And so no one wanted to go through a lengthy process. It had taken us about 6 months to get to that point. And so they said, "Oh, would you be interested in filling in on an interim basis?" Well, to take the job. I was like, well, it's not really my background. It's not what I envisioned myself doing. But I'd be willing to fill in for maybe 6 months or so just to give you some time to find someone else. It's September made 8 years. Um, and it's something that I've enjoyed immensely. The days vary quite a bit. Some are very difficult, some are filled with lots of joy. Um, but I wouldn't trade these past 8 years for anything. Um, I used to be also really involved within the community, hosting queer events in Worcester. Kind of stepped back from that a couple of years ago just to focus some more on the task force as well as just personal life and having a personal life. And I'm also an avid swimmer. I used to swim competitively, and I am a lover of all things food. My whole Instagram is dedicated to food. I just, I love to eat it. I love to cook it. I love to watch other people eat my food. So why am I in this position? Like I said, I was supported by the task force. I saw ways in which I could leverage my skills to meet some of the needs that I saw my peers have, and I also wanted to create community. I mean, it's why I got involved in queer organizing and event programming within Worcester. Um, I see ways in which the asylum seeker population is isolated, and just wanted to find ways in which we could uh, creatively get our folks engaged and integrated within the community as well. Now, the task force is a ministry of Haddon Park Church, UCC. In 2004, our church voted to become open and affirming. It also happened to be around the same time as when the state was going through its equal marriage fight. Um, Pastor Judy Hanlon, pictured on the left, she uh, was involved in the state equal marriage fight and got written up in a few newspapers. Um, she, when we fast forward to 2008, when Linford Cunningham, who's also a gay asylum seeker from Jamaica, he was struggling with the asylum process. He was unhoused at the time. He was um, just struggling to survive, and also struggled with the fact that he was gay and he thought that God didn't love him as a gay man. And so his attorney in 2008 remembered that 4 years prior there was a welcoming congregation in Worcester and decided to refer him to the church for spiritual support. Our congregation had no idea about what the SAM process entailed, and learned along the way. Learned that it was a very lengthy process. Learned that LGBTQ asylum seekers couldn't necessarily tap into their um, communities making up of their kinfolk from their home countries. Folks were still bringing their discrimination here. Um, and then also learned about the limited resources that were. Oh, Cindy, uh, you're still on camera, just a heads up.
Oh. Thanks.
Thank you.
And learned about the limited resources that are available for asylum seekers. being able to access certain public resources that are available, limited housing, not being able to get an attorney. We just learned quite a bit about the process. It's just a bit of our structure. We're situated under or Missions and Social Justice Committee of the church. Um, if you're familiar with UCC churches, we just love our committees, and there's so many committees that I have to report to each month. But it's good to have oversight.
Both Lane and Sarah and I have all been moderator at our church, which is UCC. So yeah,
It's
we
kind
live
of
that.
the person who's in charge of making sure all those committees are up and running and working. So we at least get it.
So what we do directly, we provide housing, we provide food, we provide a cell phone so that folks can stay in touch with us and the community, as well as stay in touch with attorneys and be able to research and access resources as well. In this day and age, it's hard to get by without a cell phone. And so we provide the first month's bill payment and a cell phone. We also provide a stipend each month that folks use to pay their phone bills, pay for um, any food or any medicine or any other miscellaneous expenses that they might have. We host monthly workshops at our monthly community dinner. Those are every second Monday of the month. And those workshops are on a whole host of topics from knowing their rights as asylum seekers to knowing how to find a job or how to get a driver's license. We oftentimes will invite community partners as well to come in and share the resources that they have on offer. So we've had Mass Hire come in, we've had the local health center come in, we've had um, various groups that did job trainings come in as well. We try to have it be a one-stop shop where folks are able to access the resources that they will likely need during their initial couple of years here. And then we try to organize group activities as well. And so whether it is having a picnic at the park or um, once a year we might go to Six Flags or just do something just so that folks aren't necessarily isolated and staying indoors and not being occupied during the period that they're waiting to get their work permits. And I'll go through the timeline a bit later on in the presentation, but it can be pretty lengthy, usually about a year and a half, where folks aren't allowed to work. And that can put people in a depressive state. And so we try as much as possible to keep folks engaged. They don't have social security numbers, so you can't run a background check on them. And so a lot of places won't allow them to volunteer either. And so we try as much as possible to keep folks engaged through activities. We provide connections to legal, social, educational, and career services. We form partnerships with the local health centers. We, as of fall of 2024, guarantee each person in our housing access to free legal representation to put their cases together, which has been huge. It used to be where folks had to wait 6, 7, 8 months to get connected to a lawyer to take their case. There just aren't enough of them around. But we've been able to get folks connected to lawyers through this partnership in under 1 month, which has done wonders in reducing the average time that folks are with us, as well as increase the speed at which folks get legal representation and can submit their asylum cases so they have at least some minimum protections, especially during this period. And then we've also provided connections to or formed a partnership with Quincy Community College, Mass Hire as well to waive some of their requirements that they have for folks to access their trainings. And then Tent is a career mentorship program that connects LGBTQ immigrants with mentors at Fortune 500 companies. And so we've been with them for since they started, I believe, in 2018, 2019. Um, and that's been very helpful for a lot of our folks. So since we've started, we've directly housed over 400 people from 34 of the 60 plus countries where it's still illegal to be LGBTQ, and illegal in the sense of where it's not, where they could be imprisoned, where they could be put to death, or where just culturally it's not accepted and folks could be attacked by their communities.
Al, do you have any sense of the count of countries where that's the status? Is it going up, down, steady?
Uh, it's been trending down. It comes in waves, really. And so when I first started, we were at 74, 75 countries. And
Yeah.
now I believe it's at 62, 63 countries.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it's definitely trending in the right direction. It's been on pause, I'd say, for the past year or two. We haven't seen many changes, but yeah, it is trending in the right direction overall. So now each year we receive quite a few bit of requests for housing and support. Um,
I do see Cindy's got her hand up as well, if it's okay to take
oh,
questions
yes,
during the
yes.
presentation.
Yeah,
Cindy?
I was just looking at that map and noticing that Jamaica looked to be the only country in the Caribbean where you've helped. But is are there other islands in the Caribbean? Um, is, is Jamaica alone in the Caribbean for having being it's illegal to be LGBTQ?
It's
Just curious.
not. I mean, yes. So it's the only one in the Caribbean where we've helped folks, but it's not. So these the ones that are colored, and I should have explained, are the ones where it's not safe,
Yeah.
uh, officially. The Jamaica is the only one that we've helped, but
Yes.
it's not the only one where it's not safe.
Okay. Okay. Thank
So
you.
here, I mean, technically it's still the Caribbean, Guyana,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
in South America. There are also some of the smaller Caribbean islands as well, but they were some of the ones that also had victories over the past few years. Um, and so this might have changed a bit, but there are a few that are still officially criminalized.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. So far this year, we've seen an 8% increase over last year's requests for housing and help. Uh, and last year itself was um, a record year for us. So we're probably going to end up with over 150 requests for housing and and support. We only have the capacity to house 27 folks at a time. Through various partnerships, we're able to squeeze out maybe another five or so at times, but we just don't have the capacity each year to support the number of people who reach out to us for help. And so what we've been doing over the past couple of years is assisting other groups throughout the country to get started. One of which was is based in Philadelphia. They've been really successful. They've built their model um, off of ours. And when we're at capacity, which is most of the to them, and they do the same to it with us. And then there are some other church groups throughout the country that will house an asylum seeker or two at a time. Um, they're slowly getting off the ground, their initial stages of it, but the hope is that we can help other groups to get involved in this work. because it is very much needed. There's a lot of need that is out there, and we can't meet all the requests that we receive. Now, here's a breakdown of folks who get here to us. As you might imagine, um, just as is the case here, men tend to make more than women do, and as a result of that, they are in a better capacity to A, afford the visa fees, the plane fare in order to get here. Um, they're more likely able to show sufficient country ties, which are required to get a visa, right? So the condition of getting a visa is that you're going to return to your home country. It's supposed to be temporary. And if you don't have a decent job or you're unemployed, if you don't own anything, um, chances are that you probably won't return to your home country, and it's less likely that you'll end up being in receipt of a visa. And so, unfortunately, it's the folks who are uneducated or haven't, or the poorest who end up not being able to get out of their home countries. There are groups that are trying to help, like Rainbow Railroad. They're set up specifically to facilitate or to assist people with getting out of their home countries. They pay those fees for them, um, the airfare. They help with visa fees as well, and we partner with them to an extent. Uh, but the folks that get to us on their own, this tends to be the breakdown.
Al, if it wouldn't be too much of an interruption, is there a like a super short mini Asylum 101? Not necessarily for the LGBTQ, but just in general, what is the basic process or steps? I mean, asylum is it true that's seeking permanent residence here? Is that right? But does it have to start with a temporary visa? I just shows
Yep.
my ignorance in this question.
No, no, and actually that's the next slide.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, um, you have, in general, if folks are unsafe in their home countries, there are two routes, right? There's asylum and then there's refugee status. Technically speaking, asylum seekers are a class of refugees. The difference being that refugees have all of the vetting take place while they're in their home country or in a third country, right? They apply to the UN, they go through that process. Then different countries, like for example, the US, will say this year we're accepting X number of people. Um, the UN then says, okay, here is a batch of folks that potentially are interested in coming to your home country as well, into your country, as well as have applied for refugee status, and they've been pre-screened by us, and we have our process. Then the country, the host country, will then say, okay, we have our own process of screening. Sometimes it's just a rubber stamp of the UN process. Sometimes they go through their own screening process, like the US does. And then let's say they accept, and then folks come here immediately upon arrival. Refugees, immediately upon arrival, they get a work permit and social security number, and then they get access to resettlement services, right? So there are agencies that receive funding to help folks to get off the ground. So do a lot of the stuff that we are doing at the task force. Now, asylum seekers, they have to get to the US first and then apply and then go through a vetting process. And so the difference is where the vetting process takes place. For asylum seekers in the US, they apply when they get here versus refugees that will apply from their home countries. Um, no, the asylum seekers, they're supposed to be two tracks, right? One is you can get here on a visa, and within 1 year of getting here, you apply for asylum at an asylum office. Right? The second track is going to a port of entry. So it would be a border crossing, which is traditionally how most people think of asylum seekers at the border, um, or at a airport or seaport. So any port of entry into the country, you can appear there and you can say, hey, I want to go through the asylum process, apply for asylum. What they then do is, if you're going that track, they have an initial hearing where it's a credible fear interview just to get the basic understanding of your case to see um, if you have grounds for asylum, and then they will process you. Most likely, you'll be placed in a detention center, and then you have the option of, or they have the option of granting you parole. If they do, you have to have someone within the country that's willing to accept you. Oftentimes, there's a bond associated with it that has to be paid. There are entities that are set up to pay that bond for LGBTQ folks. And then you're released into the country to show up at a court um, at a later date to have your interview. The That whole process takes place within immigration court. If you apply for, and that's under um, yeah, within immigration court. If you apply, if you get here on a visa, you're under a different track, and you actually, it's not within immigration court, it's within USCIS, and you will have an interview with an asylum officer. If the asylum officer grants your asylum, then you're fine. If they don't, then you have the option of appealing and going before a judge. And so you go into immigration court at that time to appeal the decision. Uh, so going back to the timeline, folks will arrive in the US within a year. They are required to apply for asylum. As a result of the One Big Beautiful Bill, there is no $100 asylum application fee. It used to be free of cost to apply for asylum. Also, just to go back a little bit, so what they've done as well is they've stopped processing or stopped accepting applications at the border for asylum. And so they've basically closed down that track for seeking asylum. So go back to the timeline here. So as a result of the bill, there's no $100 application fee. As a part of that bill as well, the government has the option of increasing that fee based on inflation. And so come 2026, even though they just implemented this, come 2026, that fee is going to go up to $102. So in January, this will go up to $102 for the application fee for asylum. For most folks, it's going to take 4+ years for them to have their asylum interview. Some have had their interviews within a couple of months. It varies very widely. And honestly, there's no rhyme or reason behind it. Two people can submit their application in the same jurisdiction at the same time and end out months or years apart. Each of those years that their case is pending, as a result of the One Big Beautiful Bill as well, there is now a $100 application, there's a $100 fee that is being levied. That fee right now is on pause because it's being litigated in the courts. But right now that's on hold. But there were some folks, myself included, who paid that fee before it was put on hold. If someone doesn't pay that fee, their case is likely to be closed. And so if they want to keep their asylum case pending, they have to pay that fee, um, or previously had to pay that fee. If 150 days have passed since they submitted their asylum application and they haven't been given an interview as yet, they're allowed to apply for a work permit. As a result of the One Big Beautiful bill, that fee is now $550. It used to be free of cost. Also, come January 1st, that fee is going to go up to $560. So it will be $560 that they have to pay to get a work permit, whereas it was free of cost before because chances are folks are coming from countries where they're not earning much, right? They don't have much saved. They're not working. How are they going to pay that fee? And so it used to be free of cost. Now there's a fee associated with that. Went back to this track, so after they've had their assignment interview, usually 2 weeks to 4 months after that, they'll get a decision. If they're granted it, they pay that fee to get their work permit. A year after they receive asylum, after paying a fee of $1440, they're allowed to apply for a green card. Now, they're still able to apply for the green card, but what this administration has done is paused processing of the green card. So folks are eligible to apply for a green card, but earlier this year in the springtime, they paused processing those applications, and so folks are just left in limbo. But normally what's supposed to happen is they'll apply for their green card. It's usually processed within a year or less than that. And then 4 years after that, they're allowed to apply for citizenship after paying a fee. Once folks have received their work permits, usually within 2 to 4 months after applying for it, well, there's actually a change here that we've seen since this summer. It used to be one form that you'd submit, and that form would apply for the work permit and also apply for a Social Security number. What they've done now is split that. And so you apply for the work permit. After you receive that, then you have to then go to the Social Security Administration office and apply for a Social Security card separately, and go through a brief interview process associated with that. Doesn't seem very efficient to me in doing that, but that's now the process. And so that's prolonged folks getting their Social Security card. And then we provide housing and support for another 3 months after that. And that's enough time. Well, it's not enough time, but we provide some time for folks to find a job and find an apartment and, well, find a job, start saving some money, find an apartment, and then be able to move out.
So
Well,
to that point, Al, where does your group exist in this process? Is it right from the beginning or just at the point where you just mentioned, or?
most folks will get to us at the beginning. So they'll get to us right after they arrive in the US or soon after. Um, some will get to us at various points in the process. They might have already submitted their SAM application, or they might have already submitted their work permit application. But I'd say 90+% of the folks who get to us soon after arriving in the country. Either they're in a detention center or they're somewhere in the US. And so on average, folks are with us for about 14 to 18 months. It used to be closer to 2 years, but with that partnership with the entity that gets folks connected to a lawyer in a shorter time frame, that's reduced the average stay with us.
So that's average time associated with your program is
Correct.
which may be a subset of all of the time that they spent trying to, from the time they left their country to get to be complete.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There are folks who've traveled through 5, 6, 7+ countries just to get to the US and go through very lengthy journeys.
Hmm.
No, after being here, of course, as we know, all the issues don't just magically end. Um, and so we have folks facing homophobia, transphobia. Even here in Worcester, there was someone, this trans woman, who um, was stoned twice on her way home from work. We've had folks being told to go back to their home countries. Back um, in accessing housing, it's difficult as well. Folks don't have social security numbers or haven't had them for a long period of time, and so they don't necessarily have meet some of their credit requirements that some landlords have. They don't have a lot of housing history as well, or rental history, and so we support by writing letters of support for folks, but um, it's not always accepted or sufficient. And then same comes for when it goes for work, not having a lot of work history or any work history in the US, um, not having any certifications here as well. And then, of course, as is the case in many of our towns and cities, just the abysmal public transit system and not being able to get around. And so folks end up having to get cars, and those come with a lot of expenses as well that just pile upon the ones that people who already aren't earning any money or aren't earning much starting off have to take on. But we try as much as possible to help them to overcome each of these barriers through just partnerships with other groups that can provide support. But despite all of that, we've had quite a few accomplishments. So all the folks that we've supported who've got to the point of having their asylum interviews have gone on to be granted asylum. In the overall system, though, that is at 24%. And so it just speaks volumes to having access to resources, having a community behind you as well, and influencing outcomes. Um, it's not necessarily that the folks who don't get granted asylum don't have legitimate cases. They oftentimes just don't know how to navigate the process, and oftentimes are taken advantage of.
It's astounding, 100%. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Hmm.
All the folks that we've helped end up being stably housed, and have are employed by the time they leave our housing. We are a resource for hundreds of asylum seekers annually. Our website is very heavily trafficked. Um, we've been able to support even more asylum seekers with less funding, um, especially during COVID. Was we had some lean years, and things have started to rebound a bit, but we try to streamline our processes and become a lot more efficient, so we're able to do more with less. Like I spoke about earlier, we've helped to establish some other housing groups, um, which has been key in meeting some of the needs that we've had. And like I mentioned before, just connecting folks to lawyers within a month of being with us. Yeah, like I said as well, that our resource page has just been highly accessed by folks looking for help. So it costs us about $55,000 per month to do this work. Um, it's not inexpensive at all. Uh, and here's the breakdown. It's just the average costs.
Yeah. 55 up to 40. Wow. not good at math in my head. Is that
That's pretty.
200,000 or 2 million? What is that a year? What,
Oh,
55,000 times 40? Yeah.
yeah. So our annual budget is around 720, 730.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of grant writing. When we first started out, it was when we had that first asylum seeker, the first couple of asylum seekers with us, it really was just going, well, it was situated within the congregation. So members of our church would chip in bucks as we were able to support the initial asylum seeker. Then it got to the point where we couldn't support it ourselves, and so Pastor Judy and asylum seekers would go around to welcoming congregations and take an offering, kind of like what we did recently. Um, and it was from that they were able to support folks. Now it's got to the point where the few $100 or the few $1,000s that we, couple $1,000s that we might get from a church, we can't go to enough churches to be able to sustain it. And so while we still rely on that to help to fill the gap and to also make people aware of the work that we're doing and to build our supporter base, um, we had to lean a lot more on writing grants and um, finding large dollar donors as well to support the work that we're doing.
Hmm. Are there particular large, let's see, like where does most of your grant money come from? Maybe that's the question I'm trying to spit out.
Yeah, yeah. There it comes from. There's one UCC affiliated grant that provides about a third of our funding.
Mhm.
Pays my salary as well as this. We have two full-time staff and two part-time. It pays for all of the full-time staff and pays for quite a bit of the asylum seeker support as well.
About how large is the congregation at the church?
On paper, we're about 120, but most Sundays you're looking at maybe 80 people in attendance.
Okay, so comparable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Comparable to ours.
Right. And Cindy, did you have your hand up for a question? You're on mute, Cindy. Oh, still on mute. You're we're not hearing you. Nope. Oh well. Well, she'll see if she can get herself off mute. Cool. Go ahead, Al, in the meantime.
Um, so yeah, so I think back to our future plans. So always looking at how it is that we can reduce our monthly expenses. Um, just trying to get other groups involved so we can provide more housing to
Oh,
folks.
Cindy, it looks like you're not on mute now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got lost. Sorry, I was in the wrong place. Anyway, it looks like you're doing amazing because you're spending for less 13.75 a month. That's what the left graph, the circle pie chart, like that's how much each asylum seeker needs. And then so for $55,000 per year per you can support 40 people
Per month.
per month. Okay.
Hmm.
So then you multiply that by 12 to support for 12 months.
Oh,
Correct.
Okay. Is that how it works, Al?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, that's amazing, right?
Really is.
Yeah, it's not easy to support someone on 1,300 per month, but we've been able to get really creative and we've been on this sustainability push for a while just to be a lot more efficient. So we got a special grant and funding to be able to put in solar to reduce our utility expenses. We utilize Mass Save as well to make sure the houses are as energy efficient as possible. Um,
is this housing that your group owns then or operates? Or that was the other question I wanted to ask, was where do these people stay?
Yes, so we have two buildings that we own, and then we lease one.
Hmm.
And so in total, we have 7 apartment units.
Is there an advantage, do you think? So that sounds like a bunch of the asylum seekers are living in the same building with other asylum seekers. That I
Yes.
would guess that that probably helps to be in close community with others in the same, traveling the same road.
Exactly. When I first came on board, we were housing about 12 people at a time, but we also were split up all over the city. And that was just very inefficient in me getting to meet with people. This was pre-Zoom. It was inefficient with me getting to meet with people getting to be in community and have meals together, or for us to um, have talks and workshops. And so we set about to consolidate. And so now the two buildings that we own are within 5 minutes of each other. And they're also within close proximity to the local health center where folks get access to their health care, to the downtown area so they can access the bus system and get around and to um, be self-sufficient. So Cindy first and then Sally.
Um, uh, in the Worcester area, if you wanted or if you had the funding and you had to have another building, would your group want that building or would you want somebody else to have the building? And are there buildings available if you had the money to buy one? Like here around here, there's just a shortage of buildings to buy. So just curious about the Worcester situation.
Yeah, I mean the at the moment we don't have the well, you said if we had the funds. At the moment we are deliberately pausing acquiring more property. Um, we've instead decided to focus on reducing the duration that folks are with us for.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so we're able to support more people, but also not have to manage more properties because that's also an additional time commitment and requires a lot more resources as well.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, we acquired these two properties within 3 years of each other, and um, there was an offer for us to get us a third, and we like, let's put it on pause because we'll probably end up having to get more staff, and that leads to more overhead and then stuff. And so, at least for the next year or two, at least, we'll focus on just reducing the the timeline that folks are with us. But the second part of your question, just like it is there, I'm guessing, there aren't that many properties that are around. Uh, and folks are holding on to their units, and if they are selling, they're really, really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is that as well.
So it's more efficient for you to partner with groups that are doing the housing, at least right now. Yeah.
Potentially, yes. And so, I mean, what we would do if someone's interested in getting established, it's a lot of work. But if you have a dedicated group that is willing to do it, um, we're more than happy to share um, or resources to share or experiences that we've had as well,
Mhm.
and just helping to get you off the ground.
Thank you, Al.
No problem. And then Sally.
What is the health center close by that you're able to send people to?
Family Health Center. So it's a part of the UMass network.
Oh, okay. And it then they pay for each service or you pay for each service that they might need?
For most services, they end up being free of cost. So some seekers are able to get health insurance, or at least the health safety net, and Mass Health Limited. And so those cover the very, very basic services. Dental cleanings, it covers um, a little bit of behavioral health. So able to see therapists as well. Um, Covers regular outpatient doctor visits, um, some medication as well. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
if they have to do something like major surgery, it wouldn't cover that. But for like the basic services, they're able to access those there free of cost and get certain medication free of cost as well.
that's marvelous. Back to your decision to sort of try to limit the time frame that someone is with you. Um, I'm sure you make that decision out of humane reasons, but what happens if you don't have them as long as, can you kind of feel that their success is going to be okay if you don't have as many that you help for longer?
So what we haven't seen yet that their success, so to speak, is hampered by that shortening of the timeline.
Mhm.
Folks won't necessarily be in our housing, but they'll still be able to access our community of support, right? So if they need a letter of recommendation, or if they want to come to our activities or take part in the community dinners where we have the workshops, they're still open to, and many do come to those still, even after leaving our housing. Um, it's still the community that they know and where they feel most at home. So they're still able to be around and tap into resources. They're not necessarily able to access the housing and the financial support.
How about in in one more question, in the church community, are there people who are regular um, uh, places in the congregation who have, an extra bedroom and a bathroom that offer transitional living for your immigrants?
A couple
Any?
do.
Uh-huh. I was just
A couple
wondering.
do. Yeah, and so what we've also decided to do is if someone has a room available, um, we will try to place someone who, an asylum seeker who is at the end of their stay with us and might need another month or two just to get themselves situated, place them there just because they tend to be a lot more independent than folks who are
Yeah.
newcomers. Um, and that just creates an additional space for the new folks to get in and yet to also be a part of the community and access the resources that we have. Whereas someone who is at the end of their time with us might not necessarily need those as much as someone who's new.
Thank you. Mhm.
I understand we're at 10, and I think you had said that you didn't necessarily have a whole lot more time to spend. And I know we've been interrupting you a lot, so I want to give you a chance to get to any other information you want to tell us. I'm interested in this gala too, particularly if you
Yes.
say it's the largest fundraiser. That sounds huge.
Yes, so that's where we raise usually between 100 and 120,000 per year. Um, and when you think of it, that's just 2 months of support. But um, it is vital to our existence. This year is going to be, or next in 2026 is going to be our 10th gala. So we're reimagining the entire experience. But it's a fun time. It's going to be on October 10th in Worcester. We usually have over 400 attendees there as well. So if you like to get all primed up and come out and have a good time, um, definitely. We'll put up more information about it in the new year.
Mhm. Nice. Hmm.
And yeah, and then invite folks to join us at our community dinner. They're every second Monday of the month. If you as a community wanted to cater the meal, that is an option as well. We invite congregations and different groups to provide the meal. We usually have between 60 and 80 people in attendance. And we usually do buffet style. There is a full kitchen on site if folks wanted to prepare a meal. They could do that there or just reheat on site. But it's every second Monday at 6 p.m. at the church. Sign up for a mailing list on our website. I see it's in the chat where folks can do that, spread the word, host fundraisers. Uh, Cracking the 55,000 per month isn't very easy, and so we rely on quite a few groups, um, mostly spread throughout New England, that will host fundraisers for us. And so some will bring in a few hundred, some will bring in a few thousand. It all adds up to being able to meet this need.
What's the typical cost of hosting the monthly dinner? That you said
Uh,
you can choose, a group can choose to cater that, or
yeah, they'd bring the food to do that. When we do it ourselves, if we can't find someone to do it for a particular month, it usually averages between like $400 and $500.
Mhm.
It's even less if we do the cooking ourselves.
Yeah. Nice. Hmm.
One more question.
Oh, go ahead, Sally, and then I've
Uh,
got one myself, but yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and that's
Just,
it for my
just
presentation.
Hmm.
yes, we're doing a chorus of questions.
Yeah.
On the back on the group food experience, do you have it in a place? It's in a church, so can you cook while you're there? You can heat things up, or could you come in and fix the meal in that kitchen to be ready for the diners?
Yeah, either works. So there are some folks who utilize the kitchen to prepare the entire meal. Some use it just to reheat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thank you.
I just want to go back to your 100% success rate versus 24% nationally. What's the key or keys to success? You know, how do
It's it's there are a number of elements to it. There's having access to legal representation, right? So just knowing what forms to fill so they're not rejected, knowing um, what their rights are, right, is key as well. So the right to appeal or just to navigate that whole process. Sometimes just having an advocate beside you can change the way in which the person on the other end interacts with you. Um, And then also being able to have stable housing, right? And access to food. So you're not worrying, okay, where am I going to sleep tomorrow night? Because the shelter only allows me to stay for one night. I'm not guaranteed that tomorrow I'll be able to sleep there again. Um, just so that folks mentally are at ease or a lot more at ease. Almost focus on their case and putting it together and presenting the best foot as possible.
it's an astounding story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all started by chance, and we didn't dream that 18 years later we'd have been at this point. It's just you were called to danger and walk with them and learn, and it's just blossomed into this.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, the by chance part where you said you came to this country, you went to WPI for civil engineering, and here you are doing this. I mean, there's the dimension of this story where how this has affected your personal life that I think is also very inspiring. Um,
It's a lot more impactful.
yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Hmm.
Al,
Yes, Cindy.
Says that while yes, I'm at the head of it at the moment, but it's a lot of people who are doing
Al,
who not.
unfortunately, your signal's breaking up a little bit. It may be that if you were to turn your video off and stay on audio, it might come through a little clearer. Although I'd love to continue to see your smiling face. Oh, we still see your smiling face.
just do many of these asylum seekers, do they become part of the Hadwin Church?
Many do, yes.
Mhm.
We actually just had the new members Sunday yesterday, and we've had four officially join the congregation,
Mhm.
but there's no requirement that folks do that.
Yeah.
Some aren't Christian, some are Muslim, some practice no faith tradition, but all are welcome.
Mhm. So I'm just imagining what a rich congregation it is. Well, if it wasn't already, is becoming. That's
Yes,
wonderful.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's also really nice to hear a story of some successes. I'm sure the challenges have gotten tougher during this current administration, but somehow it seems like you're meeting them or rising up.
Yeah, it was, it's been a very difficult year. I know we've painted a positive picture, but behind all of that, there've been some challenges. Challenges in funding, challenges in just the heaviness, the immense fear that folks are facing and dealing with. And we've had to implement some new strategies to cope and deal with that, and just offering peer support and having the city officials and police chief and elected representatives coming in and reassuring folks and talking about what their rights are, and having lawyers come in and do know your rights trainings and disseminating information as well, and how to navigate if they end up interacting with ICE. And it's been a lot, but we try to balance that with hope and positivity as much as possible, because
Yeah. Yeah,
always when you
Jeanette,
need that even more.
um, the involvement of the local officials then, is that something that's generally been positive, that interaction with city government and police and so forth, that's been positive as opposed to negative? They're helping, not hurting, is that right?
Correct.
Ah, awesome.
So yeah, and so they've been huge supporters of ours. For the most part, we operate below the radar. We don't get involved in too much, or at least the task force aspect of it doesn't get involved too much locally. The church, on the other hand, is can't keep quiet in the midst of stuff that's happening. But the task force itself, we try to operate below the radar as much as possible, while
Sure.
still behind the scenes getting support from various entities.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending the time with us. I know Brinley put the link to your website on in our chat, and folks can visit there, and if they want to get more involved or learn more, I'm sure that's the first way to do it. Um, Thank you so much for what you're doing for that community.
Well, thank you all. Thanks for an invitation to be here with you, and definitely I'll try to find some time to join one of your future meetings.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll if it's okay with you, I will add your email to our mailing list. You'll only get one a week, but it will tell you what the various local topics are. So, Cindy, did you
Awesome.
want to say something else
I
as
do.
well?
I hope it's quick, but I at the beginning you had a graph showing that this year the volume of need is way up. Does that mean more asylum seekers? And is there are there certain mm, w- is there something like consistent that points to why there's more this year?
Yeah, so we've had an 8% increase so far, as that we're trending at. And honestly, it's hard to fully pinpoint,
Okay.
especially when you consider the fact that they've stopped allowing folks to apply for asylum via the border. But if I had to point to one thing, it would be that folks who've been here for a while, or folks who previously were on TPS, temporary protected status, which is now being terminated for many countries, they're seeking protection.
They're
Um,
already here.
they're already here, right? So
Got
folks who
it.
are already here, I mean, folks are still getting here on visas, but
Yes.
they're already here. They are seeking for alternate ways of being protected by law. And once you've applied for asylum, technically speaking, you're allowed to remain here until your case is heard. There's some asterisks associated with that, but in general, that's what's supposed to happen.
Thank you, Al. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Great. Cool. Well, we will let you go if you need to. We usually end our sessions with just any news people want to share with each other about upcoming events of interest. Brindley usually has something, but
I would say this week, if anybody is at all interested in coming out, especially my neighbors, this is my last week of pushing for the Frosty 5K. I don't know how many of you know or not, but I'm on the board of the Natick High School Cross Country and Track and Field Boosters. And our main fundraiser for the kids is our Frosty 5K, which I'm also on the race committee. I do the course for that. And we are a USATF certified 5K course. We start at the high school and end at the high school, runs around the neighborhoods. Yes, we run in the wintertime. I think some of you might probably remember the Jingle Bell Run that happened for like 10 years. And when she decided to stop doing that a year later, we decided to pick up the mantle. It really is a great way to support our athletes. We have well over 300 kids that we support through the entire year, all 3 seasons. And it's a lot of fun. And you can run, or you can just come stand on the course and cheer everybody on. That's also great. And then we have a lot of great raffles with great deals. No hidden golf. Which is a pretty cool thing. Pins bowling, level 99, LL Bean blankets, tons of gift certificates from all of our wonderful local shops downtown. They really just are so good at supporting us. This is our 4th year, and the race is Sunday, December 7th. We start at 9 at the high school, and we're pretty much done by 9:45. You can run or walk, or just cheer us on.
are there road closures for that, Brindley, or just be careful?
We do temporary as the main group goes by road closures. So we don't close anything completely for the race. So for instance, West Street, that little segment right there between Oakland and the high school will be closed for about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes while everybody runs from the high school down that street. Cause we do run the wrong way down a one way. And then up Oakland and down Pond. So Oakland, we don't really close. We have cops at either end and help guide traffic. And that's also only like 15 to 20 minutes. Pond Street is the biggest one because we close half a lane. So it is half lane passing. They do have, the police did put up signs about that. They say 8 to 12, but really it's from 9 to 9:30. By 9:30, everybody is through that part. Actually, probably by 9:20, everybody's through that part, and we've moved everyone onto the sidewalk instead of on the road. And then that little section of West Street between the senior parking lot and the semicircle driveway also goes through that one lane traffic. And that usually happens around 9:15 to 9:30. So 15 minutes there.
How big a field are you expecting, roughly?
We've been getting close to 600. We'd like to get more than that, but 600 is a good amount for our small little team to do. This year, I recruited a senior leader who is helping me with the course stuff and helping to get more students. We're really hoping we offered hours, community service hours to any of the high school students who want to come and stand along the course and cheer, hold signs, help set up the course, help break down the course. So we've expanded that this year to try to get more help and more participation. We've been really lucky in the past with the weather, so that's been a lot of fun. Last year was our first time having snow on the ground on the Saturday beforehand, but it was just light. This year, we were thinking we were going to have more, but now we're thinking we're going to have less. So that's great. There's a potential for a little more snow on Saturday, but DPW is incredible working with us, and it's really been a lot of fun to do. It's a fast course. If you actually like to run, it's a really fast course.
And so where does it
There's
go?
that one little hill going. So we start right in front of the high school. We run around behind the high school and then come down West Street the wrong way and up Oakland and then down Pond. And then we turn left right past the cemetery. And then we take that second right and run over to that street, which of course right now I'm not going to be able to remember the name. And then we run down and do the circle loop. If you go all the way down that street, there's it's a cul-de-sac, except it's not really a cul-de-sac. It's just a circle loop that goes around. And then we drive and then we run right straight back down that all the way down to West Street again, and then turn left and go up to the high school.
Okay.
Cool. Wow. Well, good luck with it. Congratulations.
That's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Cool. And speaking of doing things with your feet, next week we're going to have Doug Drenick from Natick Trails back with us. He spoke to us back in 2022, I think.
Somewhere around
there.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure he's got a lot to update us on what his group is.
They've been doing, as somebody who was involved in the previous incarnation of the Trails Committee, which didn't have enough people to really work efficiently. Doug has been doing very good work. Really salute him for what he's up to and be interested to hear the latest.
Cool. Well, I guess that wraps us up. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.